what we just saw. Never, never, never count out the Edmonton Oilers. Being down multiple goals is their superpower. The Edmonton Oilers win 5-4 in overtime in Game 4 in Florida to tie the series at 2, heading back to Edmonton for Game 5 on Saturday. And by the way, clear your schedule Tuesday because this guarantees a Game 6. Let's talk about that game that had a little bit of everything. But first, start the year off right with HelloFresh, your go-to for cozy homemade meals that are quick, easy, and budget-friendly. With fresh seasonal ingredients delivered to your door, you can enjoy comforting dishes without the hassle and high cost of dining out. HelloFresh makes cooking simple and satisfying. Skip the grocery store and plan your weekly meals with just a few clicks. With HelloFresh, everything you need is delivered right to your door. It's so easy. Check out this mac and cheese dish I cooked in my kitchen. It took me only 20 minutes and it featured ingredients like cheese, and more cheese. But seriously, the shallots, the spinach, you can add chorizo or chicken if you want. All I did was follow the step-by-step guide that HelloFresh provided and ended up with this beautiful pasta dish. Tell me that doesn't look delicious. Get up to 20 free meals plus free sides for life and free shipping on your first order when you visit HelloFresh.ca and use the promo code DANGLE. The offer is for both new and returning subscribers who have been canceled for more than 270 days. That's 20 free meals plus free sides for life at HelloFresh.ca. Use the code DANGLE. Dude, that was stupid. Here's what it was. Games 1 and 2 were spectacular. They were tight and there were comebacks and everything, but it was tight and it went to overtime, double overtime, and it was tied 1-1 after 2. Again, I've said this before, I'll repeat. Last year's series, Oilers and Panthers, the individual games weren't all that good. Steve, how could you say that? Easily. Go look back. The overall story of the series was super cool. The Panthers go up 3-0. Panthers up 3-0. Couldn't possibly blow that. The Oilers come back and they win 3 straight. They force 7. But a lot of those games are blowouts, or they're blowouts that turned into almost comebacks. For reference, Game 4 last year was 8-1 Oilers. Game 7, tight. This year's a lot more evenly matched. Games 1 and 2 were fantastic. Game 3, Florida, belt to bottom. They take a 2-1 series lead. All right, okay. And Edmonton gets their pound of flesh. But at the end of the day, who's closer to the Stanley Cup? Well, it's Florida. They need 2 more wins to win the Stanley Cup. You need 3. You're a lot further behind. Let's see if Game 4 is a little close. Oh, Oilers take a penalty, and it's Evander Kane again. And it's another situation where it's a high stick, but the Panthers player is on a follow through and hits themselves in the face. Yeah, it's a penalty. While on the penalty kill, Darnell Nurse kicks out a guy's legs. You can't do that. You can only play with fire so long, and it's gonna burn you. Matthew Tkachuk scores. Tkachuk has struggled. He's obviously playing through something. And when I say he struggled, he's still putting up points like crazy. But you see, he doesn't quite have the same aggression, same pop that you're used to seeing. But I remember, most of your highlights that you're remembering with Matthew Tkachuk, he's basically standing stock still. One place where you can thrive doing that is on the power play. Then Ekholm takes a high stick on Marchand. Back to the penalty kill for the Oilers. Guess who again? Matthew Tkachuk again. What happened? Florida was already dominating, absolutely dominating the game before they even scored a goal. Stuart Skinner, who would end up getting pulled, was legitimately the Oilers' best player on the ice. The only reason the game wasn't 5-6-0 after 1. But the Oilers took 3 penalties in 4 minutes and 40 seconds in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. What were you, holding a knife? How did you take 3 penalties that quick in the Cup Final? And I'm not even, complaining about the officiating. All 3 of them were penalties. But now you're down 2-0 and you're chasing a game you were already chasing. Then, bit of a controversial one. The Oilers, they're in the offensive zone. They look like, okay, let's get 1 before intermission. Good strategy. Puck goes the other way. Carter Verhaeghe is on it, but Troy Stetcher's there. Hey, look at Troy. He's in the series. Turnover behind the net. Verhaeghe sends it out to Anton Lundell. He snipes it with under a minute to go in the period. But here's where the controversy comes in. Carter Verhaeghe hits a player a little bit up high along the boards, which not the last time in the game he would do this. The hit wasn't the problem. The problem was a little after when he booped Troy Stecher on the visor. Now I gotta say, could that have been a high stick? Yeah. Are they gonna call that in the Cup Final? Now, okay, are they going to call it in the Cup Final when you've called 3 penalties against one team and none against the other? Maybe. But I hate the idea that Stetcher turned the puck over because of the high stick boop on his visor. Nope, you just lost that puck battle. Badly. Bad, so badly. For Hagee and Lundell, those players are good, so good. And you are down 3-0 after 1. Bad, so bad. So, like, what do you do? Producer Drew was in my ear, like, so does Skinner, like, not come back for the second period? I didn't know how to feel about it because, yeah, the Oilers need a spark. They need something, anything, but Skinner might have legitimately been the best Oiler in the first period. These saves he had to make were stupid, and they're not even worth talking about because they were down 3 Cobb after 20. Not to mention, and this is skipping ahead a little bit, Troy Stetcher was basically benched for most of the rest of the game after a certain point in the second period. Dude, he was in this game because Klingberg wasn't good enough. Not to dampen the high of the win for Oilers fans, but who the heck plays game 5? You go back to Klingberg? Ty Emberson? I don't know, but you can't do that again. So, Oilers go to Pickard in the second period. We know that. But outside of Pickard, we all thought the same thing. Oh, to be a fly on the wall in that locker room right now. And the player who spoke up, 40-year-old, super vet in his billionth Stanley Cup playoff game, in his quillionth Stanley Cup final, Corey Perry. Reporter Chris Johnson confirming that Perry spoke up during the first intermission when the Oilers, again, were trailing 3-0. Zach Lang spoke to Jake Wallman after the game about what happened in the locker room during first intermission. Well, I think we learned a lot from the first game, kind of in a similar position, and we unraveled in the first game, which is true. What I noticed was just a bunch of leaders we have in our room. Pears gave us a little speech, and a couple of other guys spoke up, and just the kind of quiet confidence we have in our room, even down 3-0, to turn that game around shows a lot about our group. I don't think we're ever out of a game. They're not. Vasily Podkolzin asked about the same thing, Perry's message. Leadership group did a good job, talked to us. Guys like me say, like, we have to stick together. We have to fight every shift, every second, and we'll find a way to score. Goal 1, and everything starts rolling for us. And roll for them it did. 3 minutes into the second period, Evan Bouchard takes the puck for a little walk. Oilers already look good, and Bouchard looks dangerous. Sam Bennett, slash. You go to the box there, Sam. And Sam Bennett's in the box for another Oilers power play goal. I know he's battling an injury. I've been waiting for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to show up in this series, and from the moment he scores this power play goal onward, he was a monster for the rest of the night. He gets the puck from Draisaitl, which is always a privilege for everyone, snaps it home past Bob, and guess what? The beast bleeds. The Oilers are on the board. Okay. And it's on the power play. Okay. And it's early in the second. Okay. You get one, you build. And the Oilers were absolutely taking it to the Panthers. It was a complete inverse of what we've seen in this series. It's usually the Oilers have a good first. The Panthers dominate the long change of the second. At one point, shots were like 9-1 for the Oilers. The penalties evening up had a lot to do with that. Kulikov took a penalty against Podkolzin not long after the Oilers scored. Panthers kill it, though. But sometimes it changes like that. Darnell Nurse, he's having a good shift. He's taking the puck for a walk, and Darnell! You are not supposed to be that long and lanky with that ability to snipe! Dude, not to make everything about the Leafs, but it's about the Leafs getting scored on, so I'm sure you don't mind. The only, like, big man to score a goal like that I can remember, like, just the snipe and the angle. Zdeno Chara scored a playoff goal against the Leafs. I was there. I saw it in person. It was Game 3, 2018. That immediately was the first goal that came to mind when I saw this rip from Nurse. And you see the look on his face like, oh, I'm on the Oilers. Dude, it feels real. Barkov, the next shift, he has the puck, throws it over the glass. It's a penalty. It feels real. But the Panthers, okay. They kill it off. Only to immediately give up a goal to Vasily Podkolzin, and the game is tied. Jeff Skinner was a beast on this one. He's in the game too, by the way. Did such a good job fighting for pucks and battling and was definitely, like, him and Kulikov probably should have been called for penalties. Neither were. It's the Cup Final. And after Podkolzin puts in the backhand, Skinner, hey, gives Kulikov a little pat on the shoulder. Dude, if the Panthers win, it erases a lot of the funny moments from this series. If the Oilers end up winning this cup, there's already, like, 2 iconic memeable moments. Woolman laughing at Thomas Nosek you can use forever. And now this one, Skinner with Kulikov, 2 guys who, by the way, have played over 1,000 NHL games. That's a real stat. Dude, it's hilarious. Oilers fans, you know this. Ask Flames fans. Shillington looking at Evander Kane and smiling. Game 1, 2022 Battle of Alberta. That was fun. That was funny, right? Flames fans thought that was funny until you won 4 straight. It's not as good of a meme anymore, is it? Dude, forget memes. The game is tied. And naturally, because it's a series with the Panthers, we go right back to controversy. Evan Bouchard is on the end boards. Carter Verhaeghe jumps. Like, leaves his feet, jumps, hits Bouchard between the shoulder blades. Bouchard's neck snaps back and his head whack right off the end boards, right off the glass. Is it called? Absolutely not. That's unjustifiable. No, he does not hit Bouchard in the head. There are other penalties other than getting hit in the head. If you hit a guy and in the process of the explosion, you leave your feet, that is acceptable. Verhaeghe jumps into this hit against Edmonton's far and away best defenseman. You know what the goal is. No call. Bouchard eventually goes down the tunnel. Draisaitl, the next shift, goes the other way. Elbows Forsling right in the face. That's a penalty. Now, it's definitely a penalty. You have to call that. It's a bad elbow. But that coming immediately after Verhaeghe doesn't get called. Dude, listen. If they're not going to do it all 82 games, at least do it for the Stanley Cup Final. Refs have to speak to the media or someone or anyone after the game. Dude, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that we don't have some sort of answer on that. Some sort of explanation. You know what? Tell me. Tell stupid little me. Tell the layman why that's not a call. Why jumping into someone and hitting them in the back is not a call. Unjustifiable. The Oilers kill a little bit of penalty, but they start the third period down a man. And that killed their momentum, killed it dead. They ended up killing the penalty to start the third, but they were chasing the game for a solid 5 minutes or so after that. But again, it just takes one moment. Nugent Hopkins, alive in this series, fights! Not literally, like he fights to get the puck in. Puck squirts to Kapanen, a player who was having such a good early series and was nowhere to be found except getting a beer poured on him in game 3. But he sets up Jake Woolman, who's just like, yeah, buddy. Woolman, who I didn't even think was having that great of a game up to that point. But all he needs is one shot. And it's a rocket. The same rocket that Yzerman tied Woolman to when he sent him to San Jose. Before the Oilers were just like, hey, that guy's good. Can we have him? And the Sharks go, yeah, sure. You got to like pay a lot. And the Oilers are like, yeah, no, that sounds worth it. He's a good player. And the Sharks go, okay. And Mike Greer just texts Yzerman LMAO with no context. Yzerman's confused and then he looks and he sees the trade and he's like, oh. He knows exactly what. Jake Woolman gives the Oilers their first lead of the game after being down 3-0. This Calvin Pickard is magical, dude. He hasn't lost a game in these playoffs yet. And now, because the Oilers scored their third goal, he's the goalie of record in this game, and now the Oilers are winning. All he has to do, simply, easily, is shut the door the rest of the way. Oh, it's not even kind of easy, is it? The Oilers are bleeding the clock. They're doing a great job chasing Bobrovsky back into his net, killing time, keeping him in the net. But eventually the Panthers get the 6th attacker and it starts to feel inevitable. Reinhart and Tkachuk have a little accidental give and go. Reinhart gives it to Tkachuk. Tkachuk bobbles it a bit, but it's a happy accident that ends up on Sam Reinhart's stick. Reinhart, from a miserable, abysmal angle, buries it. 20 seconds to go. Ties it in front of Taylor Swift and her boyfriend and everything. For the third time in this young series, we're going to overtime. I think we've seen enough sample size that even though the series is tied, the Panthers are probably, I don't want to say the better team. That's going to make people mad. They have controlled the majority of this series so far. Dude, they outchanced Edmonton like 13-1 in the first period. It was stupid. The more overtime went, even though the Oilers had their chances, it felt like it was inevitable for the Panthers. They were coming and wouldn't stop. Don't clip that. Sam Bennett has a clear shot. Shot stopped by Pickard. Not just stopped by Pickard, and then it hit the crossbar. Perry is absolutely freaking robbed by Bobrovsky. Luostarinen has a great chance, stopped by Pickard. And again, even though the Oilers are getting their chances, it just feels like Florida is knocking on the door. Any minute they're going to score, and you don't need a lot of time. I talked about this in my first book. Jerome McGinley, when he set up the golden goal in 2010, I think he was on the ice for 8 seconds. Mike Richards was on, he went off, Jerome McGinley comes on, he wins a puck battle, gets it to Sid. We all know how that ends. Leon Draisaitl, just slumps onto the ice. Sees the puck coming up the ice, and he's like, oh, that's good. Those guys play for my team. Okay. Ekholm advances it. Podkolzin gets it to Draisaitl. One-hands it at the net. Dude, any other player does this. It's harmless. But you got Draisaitl with this 2x4. He calls a stick like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He just one-hands it like, oh! And he beats two Panthers 5-hole at once. It goes between Nico Mikkola's legs, off of him, and between Sergei Bobrovsky's legs. And the comeback is complete. Leon Draisaitl with his second overtime winner of these playoffs. No, of this series, of this Stanley Cup Final. Alien from space. Now allow me to dump a bunch of silly stats on you. First of all, check out this screenshot from Unfortunate Hockey. Panthers are up 3-0 with 41.7 seconds to go in the second. 17-7 were the shots. Players to score 2 overtime goals in one Stanley Cup Final series. Don Raleigh in 1950 with the New York Rangers. John LeClair, who's right there, 1993 with the Montreal Canadiens, and Leon Draisaitl, 2025, Edmonton Oilers. Oh, this isn't a stat. It's just I forgot to talk about this. Here's Connor McDavid lighting Aaron Ekblad on fire again. By the way, that's not just former first overall picks. Those guys were picked first overall back-to-back. Ekblad, 2014, McDavid, 2015. From Chris Johnston, this is unreal. The 100th overtime in Stanley Cup Final history is officially underway at Amerant Bank Arena. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are watching an absolutely epic game. That is, you put in those keywords, dude. Hell yeah. The Oilers are the 7th team in Stanley Cup Final history to rally to victory from a 3-goal deficit. The last time that it happened was in 2006. The Hurricanes did it to the Oilers. I thought this one was, it's funny. It's just funny. High sticking penalties this postseason. Oilers 13, Panthers 2. This one's the best one. Oilers look to become the first road team, so this is before they actually did it, look to become the first road team to rally from a 3-goal deficit and win a Stanley Cup Final game since the Montreal Canadiens at the Seattle Metropolitans in Game 5, 1919. Producer Drew typed in 1919 technology. Here are some inventions from the last time this happened, 106 years ago. The pop-up toaster was invented. Self-folding shirt collar. It's self-folding. What? Electric arc welder. Phonofilm. They discovered protons. Confirmation of general relativity by Albert Einstein and Elephant Boot Dam. I don't even know what that is. This dam was a key part of the Rio Grande project designed to improve irrigation and resolve water disputes with Mexico. In Canadian terms, a bunch of the dudes who are currently on the money weren't even prime minister yet. And the queen, who was on the money, was not even born yet. It was 7 years before she was born. Now her son is on the money. 1919 was the final year of the First World War, and this is the most important one to me. This was only 5 years after the end of the timeline, the canon timeline, of the first Red Dead Redemption game. Jack Marston could have been at that game. He fled to Canada, or I guess fled to Seattle, like way up north, and he went and saw a hockey game, all while being so mean to his horse. Sorry, some of you aren't familiar with Red Dead Redemption. To clarify, horse is horse. Yeah, I was talking about the animal. Got it. Okay, anyway, the Oilers are silly. They're crazy. And this series is going back to Edmonton, unlike last year, with the Oilers down 3-0 heading into Game 4. The Oilers take a 2-2 series tie back to Edmonton. It is now a best of 3. They have regained home ice advantage after taking the split in Florida. Now, both Oilers wins were wildly unlikely comebacks. In game 1, you got to remember, they got the Panthers to blow it. Blow a third period lead for the first time in like over 30 games. Then this one, they literally did something that has not been done for 106 years. Is that sustainable? Screw sustainable. It is 3 games max. Your strategies should consist of win, win, and win. Now, are the Panthers sad? Well, I don't think they liked it, but Paul Maurice has the right attitude. If you plan for 7 games, that means you're losing 3 of them. You have to take that pain, use it, and come back. This fight is a slobber knocker, and I cannot wait for game 5 on Saturday. Dude, these guys who just beat the crap out of each other for 4 periods have to now get on a plane, fly, holy smokes, so far to Edmonton, and they have a game on Saturday night. Here's my question. Can the pace possibly continue? These guys are going to be exhausted heading into that game, and they're not going to want to take risks. Are they? You would think, but both teams seem to have a lot of pop. Can't believe it. Cannot believe it. I totally believe it. It's the Oilers. My friends, it is 1:30 in the morning, so I asked for questions, but I'm wrapping it up. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like to tell your friends. Somehow, this series is tied. And 1919 was a very long time ago.